You know that feeling when you're being polite, but it feels like you're just going through the motions? Well, today we're going to dive into this really powerful idea called the architecture of decorous empathy. It's all about that subtle and, let's be honest, sometimes really tricky craft of showing genuine respect. So let's just jump right in with a feeling I think we've all had. Picture this. You're in a conversation and there's that fine line. When does being respectful feel real? And when does it just feel, I don't know, forced, like you're just playing a part you're supposed to play? Okay, to really get to the bottom of that question, there's one key piece of vocabulary we've got to get our heads around. It's basically the foundation for this whole idea of being truly considerate. And that word is decorous. Now, this is so much more than just, being polite. It's about behavior that shows real propriety and good taste. So think of it less like a set of rules for manners and more like a deeper, more thoughtful way of considering other people. All right, so we've got the definition down. But how does this actually work in the real world? I mean, especially in those really tricky situations, right? Like when you're talking to someone you just fundamentally disagree with. How on earth do you stay decorous and still be genuine? Well, the approach here is broken down into three pretty clear steps. First step, read the room. And this isn't just about glancing around, right? It's about actually sensing the emotional temperature of the space, understanding what's at stake. Next, let them lead the conversation. This is a huge, generous act. It's all about giving them the floor, letting them express themselves fully. It shows them that in that moment, their perspective is your priority. And then, here comes the hardest part, for sure, agree without compromising your integrity. Now, this is crucial. It's not about pretending. It means you're listening so carefully that you can find these little truths you can honestly get behind, maybe validate their feelings, or even acknowledge the logic in one part of their argument, even if you totally disagree with their final conclusion. And this really gets to the absolute heart of the whole thing. The goal isn't to fake agreement, not at all. It's to make the other person feel heard, to feel valued, all while you're still being true to yourself. See, it's about showing them that their words matter. That's a world away from pretending their words are your words. It's an incredibly delicate balancing act, between validation and authenticity. But let's be real. What happens when that balance is just impossible to find? Because this approach, it's not some magic wand. Sometimes, even when you have the best intentions in the world, you just can't find any common ground. It happens. And I think this next idea just captures a universal pressure perfectly. On one side, you've got this hope, right? This feeling deep down that we should be deeply connected with everyone all the time. But the reality is so much healthier. It's totally okay if you aren't. It doesn't mean the connection is a failure. It just means your connection is going to be different. And that's okay. So what's the game plan when you hit that limit? It's really about finding a tiny island of common ground in a huge sea of disagreement. First things first, you got to acknowledge the distance between you. That's the honest part. Then you start looking for that one little spot where you can connect. Maybe it's a shared value or a similar experience you once had, and you just try to build a small bridge from there. But what if even that small bridge just collapses? What then? Well, the source gives this really peaceful piece of advice. It says, if ever it should break, you take a deep breath and slowly let it go. And that's just such a powerful reminder, isn't it? That sometimes the most respectful, the most truly decorous thing you can do for yourself and for the other person is to just let it go. Okay, there's one final idea that just beautifully ties all of this together into a single, really unforgettable image. It's this fantastic metaphor, empathy in clean shoes. Just listen to this. Good behavior is just empathy wearing clean shoes. Let that sink in for a second. Empathy wearing clean shoes. It's such a simple idea, but it totally reframes what we think of as good manners, doesn't it? It's suggesting that it's not about following a stuffy list of rules, but about something way deeper, way more fundamental. So what does that actually mean, like in practice? Well, it means you've got to move beyond just a checklist of polite things to do. It's about really developing a genuine understanding of how your actions are going to land with someone else. And then, and this is the key, it's about making that internal feeling, that understanding, visible through your actions. I mean, forget all the complex social rules for a second. This idea can be as simple as this: holding a door open for someone with a relaxed, genuine smile. You're not doing it for credit, right? You're not looking around to see who's watching. The act itself, that's the whole point. That, right there, is empathy made visible. That is empathy in clean shoes. Because ultimately, this isn't just some theory to know about. It's a practice. It's something you have to live. Which leaves us with one last simple question to take with you. So, how are you going to wear your empathy today?